3 explorers. 1 question. Are you 55 and older and unsure if you've saved enough for retirement? You may feel like you are in the dark, not sure where to turn or how to find the answer. But there is a path and a guide to help you follow it, to find clarity and confidence. Join us as we search for answers in the Hourglass of Time on this Indiana Jones inspired episode of Retiring Today with Loren Merkle.
Hi, I'm Molly Nelson here with Loren Merkle and Chawn Honkomp. You might notice that we look a little bit different than we normally do on this show. That's because today we're dressed as explorers and we're inside the Cave of Questions. Well, you're probably asking why. Well, we want to help you on a quest that can sometimes feel difficult, and that's planning for retirement. So inside the Cave of Questions, we have this big question written all over the wall. It is, are you 55 and older and unsure if you have enough saved for retirement? We want to help you find out today because, Chawn, when you talk to people in Retire Ready calls, the do I have enough saved for retirement question is something that a lot of people want to talk about.
It is such an important question, and for most of the people that we help plan for retirement, it is the biggest concern you have. As you're approaching this stage of life, you want to feel confident when you do go to choose to retire and say goodbye to that paycheck, and people want to know whether or not they have enough saved to last them throughout their retirement journey.
And because this is an Indiana Jones inspired episode, we have to find an artifact, Loren. I mean, look at Loren. Indiana Loren is what we might be calling him today. We've got to find an artifact.
We can't get dressed up like this and not search for some kind of artifact. And in today's show, the artifact is going to be the Hourglass of Time. And the Hourglass of Time is hidden in the deep recesses of a different cave, and we have to find that on the quest. And in order to find that, there are 6 pillars that we have to stop along on that quest and solve the clues involved with those pillars in order to find the Hourglass of Time.
But one of the toughest things when you're in a cave, and there's so many paths you can take, also, as you get started planning for retirement, is where to start. Where to start? Well, guess what? You don't have to guess. There is actually a guide to help you, and Indiana Loren over here just might know where to start.
You don't call me Indy Loren for nothing. I just so happen to have the map.
There it is.
This map will show us the way to the Hourglass of Time.
And this map represents how we get to the Hourglass of Time. It's got the 6 pillars we must unlock, and it also represents the plans that you help people build. You see it on your screen right now. There are those 6 stops. You stop at each of those with the families and individuals we serve, and you make a plan for each one of those pillars. So that map told us we need to go this way, and we need to start with lifestyle. How will planning for lifestyle help me figure out if I have enough saved for retirement?
I saw a lot of twists and turns on that map, and that's what lifestyle really represents. We know we're going to have that retirement journey and we're going to have a lot of life to live, but that lifestyle plan is so important because that's where we start. That's what's going to lead to and drive the other 5 pillars of that Retire Secure roadmap. We want to help you paint that vision about what that next stage of life is going to look like. Now you're in that stage of life where you can start chasing those dreams. We want this time frame to be those golden years, as everybody talks about. You're in charge of your time, your calendar. You get to be wherever you want to be. You can now start traveling, spending time with the grandkids. So many people want to spoil those grandkids. So it's about starting with that lifestyle plan so that we know what else we've got to start planning for as we get into this retirement journey.
And if you're 55 and watching, that might be a little difficult, right? Because you're not thinking you might retire for, 8 to 10 years. But it's important to write it down, define it, because I think it'll lead us down that next path here in this Cave of Questions.
With something so important as the rest of your life, your retirement, you want to make sure it is written down. There's study after study that's been conducted that says you have somewhere between a 35, even some of them up to a 40% chance of achieving your goals, achieving your quest if you have it written down. And that's why we have to have it written down.
Okay, so we've unlocked lifestyle. I feel like I understand what it is. I'm going to understand why it's more important here. I think at this next stop, but I don't know where to go because I'm getting sidetracked. There are all these questions up on the cave, like how much do I need? How long will it last? What if something goes wrong? Let's go back to the map. Let's consult that map again. That map is telling us where to go next. And where is it there, Loren?
We are going to the income.
Okay, let's go down the path of income, because once I've set up lifestyle, that really can drive that income plan, because that's going to tell me how much I need to live the lifestyle I want.
We need to know what that lifestyle plan is, which is why we start with it like we talked about before, because that's going to help us work together to determine what does your lifestyle require? What is it going to cost you? That is a big part of developing that income plan. We need to have make sure people know how much they have to have in a typical month, average month, to cover everything they want to do. So you've got certain fixed expenses, and then it's all those discretionary things. Now you've got all this free time. You get to choose. Do you go out to eat more often? Are you going to travel? Whatever it is you want to do, we need to have that monthly need identified so that we can start building a really solid plan.
And Indiana, Loren, I know you're an analytical type, so I'm 55. How are you going to tell me what I'm going to be spending in 5 to 10 years when I retire? How does that work?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory. The fortune is the investments that you have saved over the entire working career. The glory is the lifestyle that you want to have in retirement. How are you going to find the answer to the question, do you have enough to retire? It's through building that plan. Imagine having a predictable, a reliable, a steady income coming in each and every month that you know is going to take care of your lifestyle, not only at point of retirement, but also 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Just like Indy, as he goes to find all of his trophies or things.
Artifacts,
there we go. All of his artifacts, he runs into traps. He has a map every single time, but he's still running into traps. As you go through the course of your retirement, especially as it relates to finding enough income now and later, you will have to overcome traps. You don't want to guess. You don't want to guess, should you use the 4% rule? Should you use the 80% rule? How much can you take out this month and have enough for next year? That is why you have to have that map in order to answer the question, do you have enough, which is going to give you the confidence to have the lifestyle that you want to have.
And quite frankly, you guys draw that up for people. Even if they are 55, you can say, okay, based on the goals you have for retirement, here's about what you'll need at age 63 if you want to try. Let's say you guys want to wait till 65. You spell it out for people, and some people love that visual representation, kind of like a map. You can look at it and see it.
The reason this pillar is so helpful is because people have never had to do it before. So we often hear from you, well, what exactly is an income plan? We've got to think about these guaranteed sources that people have, whether it's the Social Security, and if you do have any pensions. That's part of your income plan. Now factor in that monthly need for that lifestyle. And then if there's a gap there, we've got to start identifying the distributions that you're going to take from your balances to fill in that remaining need. So now we've got the plan and that visual of where the cash flow is going to come from and how people are going to be able to support and cover their lifestyle throughout their retirement journey.
We're also looking for that hourglass of time. It's somewhere in here. We're going to find it. We're going to find that hourglass of time, but we've got to unlock all of the pillars first. So before we can unlock the pillars, we've got to take the right turn. And I know when it comes to taxes, there's misconceptions. Those could be the traps that people fall into. Some of the misconceptions, I know you guys have heard that they'll be lower when I hit retirement. I won't have to worry about taxes. I don't have any control over them. I'll just pay them. But man, those misconceptions can really throw you off course.
Well, in fact, it's one of the biggest wealth eroding factors when it comes to your retirement is all the taxes that you can pay. And that's why in the movie, when Indy says, it's not about the years, honey. It's about the mileage. He's not talking about the duration of his adventures. He's talking about the punches and the bruises and the gunshots that he's taken that's really worn on him. And the same goes for you with the taxes. Think about all the taxes that you pay. When you make money, when you earn money, you have to pay income taxes at the federal level, maybe at the state level. When you buy something, you have to pay sales taxes. When you pass away, maybe your estate pays taxes, maybe your beneficiaries pay inheritance taxes. There's way more taxes than even that. And so what that means to you is that represents opportunity. That represents opportunity to really put a tax plan in place in conjunction with your income plan to make sure you can have the income and you're optimizing the tax. And it's not uncommon over the course of somebody's 20-year retirement time frame that they can save over 6 figures on their retirement tax bill. It's meaningful.
And that's why it's one of the milestones. That's why we need to unlock that part of the map. So we need to go to taxes. They're important. And they're important because thinking about them now at 55 can really put you in a good space when you do retire at 62, 63, 65.
The map shows us when it comes to the tax plan pillar of the Retire Secure Roadmap, it's about having that long-term tax plan. Most of you think you have less control around your taxes and your taxable income than what you really do. And if you start building that long-term tax plan at a younger age, now people have more time to identify the opportunities and implement certain strategies. Just because you might have a lower taxable income in retirement, which is an assumption most people make, that does not guarantee a lower marginal tax rate. So we've got to have that information. That's why part of our process is to have that long-term view. So we know what your lifestyle is. You're going to hit a certain amount of taxable income in retirement because you've got the lifestyle that you want to live. So we have to know what the future years are going to look like. That allows us to have the information we need so that we can make the best tax planning decisions each and every year of retirement.
And every dollar that you can chip off of that retirement tax bill, that's a dollar that goes right into your satchel. It goes right into your satchel that you can take out and use for your retirement lifestyle along the way. So why not keep more of your money that you've worked for hard and saved to use for your lifestyle? Stockpile in your satchel.
Someone really understood the assignment and did their homework. I let you're really in character here, and in character is a professor. Indiana Jones is a professor. I said the analytical stuff, the actions, the strategies. That's what you do as a retirement planner when you're not dressed like Indiana Jones. Sometimes people can do things at 55 and beyond, and put strategies in place that put them in a better position when they retire.
Many times, and that's why this is probably the second best question that we get outside of do I have enough to retire is when should I start my retirement planning? The sooner the better. So if you're age 55 and you're saying, well, I'm not going to retire for 10 years, what are you guys talking about? Let's turn the channel. You can do a lot of strategies. You can put a lot of strategies in place now to put yourself in a better position down the road. Time is power. And the more time you have, the more power you have.
And something we hear so often is that we know you don't know what a retirement plan is. You've never had to do that before when you're in your working years, 20s, 30s, 40s. We start working with families and a year in or a few years in. What do we hear all the time? I wish we would have met you sooner. You always are wishing you'd have had that overall plan in place a few years earlier because time is on your side to implement some of these efficient strategies.
We've come a long way on our quest, guys, but we've still got some more milestones to unlock. So back to our map. Let's put it up on the screen so everybody can see it. We are on our next step on our map to get to our quest, the Hourglass of Time. And that next stop is investments. And I'm going to come back to the cave of questions because people have a lot of questions around this, guys. You see it here in the cave. I'm taking enough risk. Am I taking too much risk? Should I do something different with my 401k? Is that going to be enough? And when it comes to investments, there's a lot you can read online about it, Loren, but all that information isn't tailored specifically to everyone that reads it.
In fact, none of that information is tailored to you trying to read it. However, there is a ton of information out there, and that is also problematic because not only do you have to sift through all of that information that's out there, you have to determine what of that information actually pertains to you and then put it to use in a meaningful way that you actually benefit from it. And that's why all of the investment plans that we put into place are customized to what your situation is. How much money do you need to take out of your portfolio? That is going to change what your investment structure is going to look like. How much money are you going to need down the road? Do you need to plan for long-term care? All of this goes into it, and understanding prior to going to downturns in the market, prior to going through a March of this year when the market was down 25%, prior to going through that, you have a good understanding of how much risk you're taking. So when we go through the bad times, you understand what your portfolio will do, you're comfortable with it, and it is aligned with the phase of life you're in and your current goals.
And the investment plan needs to be different at age 55 and beyond. You want more of that information. It's not just enough to know how much risk you're taking. It's about how much exposure, what if the market or when the market has its downturn. And also there's different strategies that now are a fit for you at age 55 and beyond that can continue to add value to your retirement plan no matter what kind of market conditions we have in front of us.
And we're specifically answering about having money saved, but I don't think it's inappropriate to talk about investing, because if you're 55, you can get in an investment that's customized to when you do want to retire. So to continue to save for retirement.
Yeah, there's so many strategies that you can incorporate that includes your current contributions. Answer questions like, how much do you need to contribute now? Because with everything costing so much, oftentimes at the kitchen table, the conversation is, well, how much can we afford to invest and still have the lifestyle we want now, but we also want this lifestyle down the road? So how do you go about that? What types of tax advantaged accounts do you put that money into? Should you be doing the Roth? What are the advantages and disadvantages of that? Should you be contributing pre-tax advantages and disadvantages? All of those things should be considerations at whatever age, 25, 35, 45, 55, and beyond. The contributions are ultimately how you're going to be able to obtain your goals.
We have 2 more milestones we have to unlock. I think it's time to go back to the map, guys, because there are a lot of ways we could take this. There are a lot of turns we could take. Indiana, Loren, what do you have there on the map?
We want to make sure we take the right turns. Here's where we're going right here. Still have to go through those 2 pillars.
Next stop on the map is healthcare. And again, if you're 55, I know it's got to be hard to think about healthcare in retirement, but it's especially important question to help you answer if you have enough saved, if you're thinking about retiring before you're Medicare eligible, Chawn.
Yet another part of this plan that people are looking for information for. So regardless of what age somebody's going to retire, you need to have that healthcare plan, and you're looking for that information about what it's going to look like for you. So for individuals that maybe are age 55 and are planning to retire prior to Medicare age of 65, that's what we call the GAP plan. COBRA could potentially be an option, or we go out to the open marketplace for that healthcare. And this is a piece of your plan that often prevents a lot of you from retiring because there's so much uncertainty. It's the unknown of the cost, the premiums. Everybody feels like it's just super expensive, which it can be. It's the coverage, it's the health events, what your health history looks like at this time. So you need and want that information so that you feel good about developing that plan so that people can stick to whatever their retirement goals and retirement ages are.
And just because something is expensive doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about it or plan for it.
Yeah, because the cost of it is going to be there whether you plan for it or whether you don't plan for it, but you're going to have a way better opportunity to account for it within your overall lifestyle, retirement lifestyle, if you have a plan in place. You want to make sure you're prepared. Having a plan equals preparedness.
Okay, we have 1 more milestone to unlock on our map. Here we go, we're traveling. We're almost there, guys. I can almost see the hourglass of time. We have to stop at legacy, though, and legacy can feel a long ways away, but for some people, it's very important. You talk to people in retire-ready calls, Chawn, you sit down with people in visits, you sit down with people all the time, and a lot of people say, hey, I want to leave money to their kids or even their grandkids.
Everybody wants to be able to leave whatever assets are remaining in the most efficient manner, and that's why it is important to have that legacy plan in place at any given time, because you don't know when you're going to have the final step of your retirement journey. So whether you're 55 or anywhere beyond that, it's never too soon to develop that legacy plan and know that you've made the right decisions so that any assets you leave behind are going to move to your beneficiaries in the most efficient manner. You never know when life's going to happen and when you might need to execute that legacy plan. So I get that plan in place sooner than later.
Legacy planning is really about passing along what you value most to whom you value most. Chawn, how many times have we had the conversation with somebody? We said, when's the last time you updated your will? Just the basic, simple will. And the most common response is, well, maybe 30 years ago when the kids were going to my sister, something of that nature. You have to make sure that these documents are put in place and are updated to reflect the phase of life that you're in. So whether it's an updated will, it's to put in a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust, powers of attorney, all these different documents need to at least be considered as a part of your legacy plan so you can fulfill your mission, your goal with legacy planning by passing along what you value most to those you value most.
And quite frankly, if you're 55, you're hoping for a long and healthy life, but I know you've sat down with people. You often tell the story about someone who was grieving the loss of his wife and came to find out that the 401k had not been updated recently and was having trouble having to deal with that and also the loss of that spouse.
It's heartbreaking. In that particular instance, it took this gentleman 3 months, 3 months, plus to gain access to over $1 million of retirement savings, where if it was done correctly when his spouse had passed, he would have just received that within a couple of weeks. Now, this is money that he was going to use for the rest of his life, and he was rather young. You just don't know. You don't know when your last day is going to take place or your spouse's last day. So we don't need to wait till tomorrow. Figure it out today to make sure whom you value most is taken care of.
And we've unlocked all of the pillars on the milestone, all the milestones rather, along the way, but we've still got that hourglass of time because we know how important time is in retirement. So I think we've got a little more exploring to do. The map is showing us, guys, straight ahead to the hourglass of time.
Let's go.
Let's find it.
Found it. There it is. Be careful. Still many traps.
We don't want the walls to cave in on us, though. We need to unlock the hourglass of time, but how do we do it?
Very carefully.
Let's go.
You've got a plan.
Almost there.
You've got a plan, I feel like.
Here we go. Gotta do this just right. Things can get very dicey.
The hourglass of time, we have it.
It's ours.
You got it.
And if you are thinking about retirement, time is your most precious resource. And stopping at all of those milestones along the way can give people a lot of time back. And a lot of times you talk to people who can retire earlier than they thought they could once they put a plan in place.
There's so much value with this comprehensive retirement plan that you can't always measure. You can measure your rates of return, you can measure your cash flow, but as we help people enjoy that retirement journey, so many times they just talk to us about, we don't even worry about these numbers. It's about what we're doing. It's about time with the grandkids. It's about taking those trips. So that's where time becomes everybody's largest asset in retirement, even more so than the dollars.
And that's why one of the most common expressions that we hear are, as people approach retirement, is time is no longer on their side. They don't have as much time. At least that's how they feel. They feel a lot like the sands going through this hourglass, and that's why they really want to make the most of the time that they have. They want to live confidently. They want to be able to do the things that they want to do with the time that they have remaining, because time is not promised. It is not promised. Nobody knows how much time they have left. So they want to really optimize it and make sure they're making the best decisions that they can. That's why we say when it comes to retirement planning, you get one shot. You get one shot to get it right, because there are so many traps along the way, and you don't want to step in one of those traps and unseat all of this work that you've done over your entire working career.
I think the hourglass also reminds me that there's no time like the present to take action. If you've been thinking about retirement, you know you need to get going. You know you need to start somewhere on your path. I think a Retire Ready call is a great way to take that action, to maybe get some of that time back and start planning for retirement. It's a complimentary call. We have these, we provide these. Go to retirereadycall.com. Then you'll choose a time and a date. There's a calendar there, and then you'll get to talk directly with a retirement planner. Chawn, you have these calls all of the time. Tell people kind of what you can cover in a very short amount of time.
We're able to cover so many topics. A lot of you out there, you're facing a very important decision, and you need help right at that time. Other people know that they're getting to that stage of life where they're looking for more from their advisor. They're looking for this comprehensive retirement plan. So you've got the opportunity just to learn more about what we do, learn more about what it means to have a retirement plan. So now you can start putting time back on your side by taking that first step towards your Retire Secure roadmap.
It's been an epic adventure. You've got it back in your satchel. You're ready to roll.
Keep it safe.
We should probably get out of this cave before anything bad happens to us and go on another journey another time.
With another map.
Let's go.
Let's go.